Vincenzo'S Go Crypto Investing this June the 24th, 2025 evening daily cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, gold, and silver bullion update as we work our way together with this community that we're growing and building together to asset millionaires via simple, consistent investing in 401k, gold and silver bullion and mining stocks, cryptocurrencies, obviously cash, and you must have cash on the side, collecting 3 to 5% interest via short-term to medium-term money market or CDs, bank CDs, which they're paying. So that way you have cash there to accumulate or buy a new asset and accumulate a new asset into your portfolio by having dry powder to deploy when necessary. And these are the things that we're doing. And just hit that bell notification, comment down below, subscribe, and share. And it's easy and as cheap as $3.99 a month to help support the channel, to keep this movement going of truth, trust, education, and information, most importantly. And if we look at the US dollar, it's been on a big downturn since Trump said that the war was over. But if you look at the news today that we're going to get into, because it directly affects the prices of the assets and the cryptocurrencies and stocks that we want to buy in commodities, right? Not a financial advisor, but it's just the way the truth and the facts are. Oil was the biggest hitter. But this is something that I'm now becoming very interested in, is oil tanked only on the news, right? Based on Trump yesterday saying it was the end of whatever it was, the 12-day war, that he coined it. And then immediately today, with the news that we're going to look at, a bunch of people died and a bunch of bombs were dropped. So the 12-day war apparently is not over, right? But oil corrected and went down. But oil's been in a big bear market, like we talked about in our last video, since the big blow off top in late 2022, about summertime 2022. And you can see that it's been in a big downturn ever since. See the big run up after the COVID negative? And it's been a big downturn ever since. It tagged about 120 and change a barrel. But then we've been on a pretty good roll. We had this nice double bottom. See that? We had the big capitulation right here. Let's see how much that was. It was local capitulation, 23.51% in a very short amount of time. Then we had a nice classic return rally, and then the classic dump. And then this is where the critical part is. Does it hold, or does it continue to fall through like you've seen every other time? Well, it held this time and pumped back up, and then it had the big rally, and this was all news-driven right here. But you can see that we went from $60 a barrel all the way up in about 5 or 6 trading days to 77.5, 77, almost $78 a barrel in about 6 or 8 trading days in a 3-week run of oil going up 38, almost 40%, right? So what is very interesting about this is if there's a quick reversal and all of a sudden it's apparent that the war is on, is oil going to do this? And this was just a classic consolidation after we picked up in the price of oil. So I just want to talk about the oil real quick. The US dollar is the same thing, but it's been tanking. And the only thing that briefly gave it some life right here was the war, because the world still perceives it as a safe haven. Gold actually had a down day finally. You can see gold, if we take a quick peek before we get into the cryptocurrencies, you can see gold was down today about 1.5%. In the last 5 days, it's down almost 2%. I think it was down about 1.5% today. Silver was down. Silver's been on a big tear recently, but it's now in the short term started to correct a little bit. Something that we talked about, and something that we're going to continue to talk about, because I believe this last correction here that possibly we're in is the last correction, and the time is out and up free to make that 10 to 20x gains in the gold and silver bullion mining sphere and the generational wealth transfer once in a lifetime, right? The Bitcoin price is continuing to pump phenomenally. And you can see we're up to 106,300. We're above the 50-day moving average pretty significantly now, and the moving averages are trending up again. So maybe the bullish action is going to continue, right? So what we got to look at, like we talked about in our lunchtime, 2 of the tracks, or only one shows it going up, and this is just part of the probability based, and this is the big rising channel that we've been in, the even bigger one we've been in ever since the COVID capitulation low back here mid to late 2023, about the summertime of 2023, and then we started the uptrend in the fall. You can see we're again on lower support, an area that we've been in and we talked about earlier today, and we're in a decision point. Are we just going to continue and hold this as support and start to trade up, reach the all-time high that we set back here a couple of weeks ago, and make another run up towards upper resistance at the top part of this rising channel, which is all the way up there at 147,646.51. That is possible. I mean, strange. I never thought, honestly, Bitcoin would be at $100,000, right? But it's at $100,000. So that is possible. But I still do believe that this is going just like when it finally came up here, it came down. Then we had another top. Then it came down. Now we're in another one of these rallies. I believe it's going to come down again, and we're going to actually fulfill this daily wick. You see how we wick down there to that lower support just below the 100-day moving average, right on that purple uptrending in the channel. I think we're going to come back down in full body candles, right? I think we are going to come down there like we did here. Wicked, came up, and then we came back down. I think this will break down, but there's no guarantees. I cannot read the future, but this is the thesis that I've been on, and I'm going to continue to believe that we're on, that we have to come back down to this 73,845.25 regional mountain double top potential neckline if it's confirmed, because no, we don't want to buy you. We have the blow off top, 30% correction, new high, barely, and then we come back down. There's your mountain double top, right? We come back to the neckline, and then if we break down from that, just so happens, look at where the technical target would get you, right? If this was actually what's happening, look at this. See that? Down to the neckline from the double top. Then you break it down from the neckline, gets you to $50,670, almost exactly to that 57,000, just a little bit below it, right? So that's something that we're looking at, because I still believe we're in that, but that doesn't mean that we have to be in that. And I understand that I could be wrong, but if it blows and goes to 147, obviously I was wrong, right? Even if it comes back down to, like, say 60 after and does a typical Bitcoin correction, I would still be way wrong. I need this to break down without breaking really a new high for me to be right. But it's not about being right. It's about being the most prepared. And moving along, you can see Bitcoin dominance did actually finally have a little retracement here after it got all the way up to about 66. What did we get up to? 66.13%. And now the dude that always says I go on the devil's number, that's not me. That's just what the price, right? That's just where the price landed. I can't help where the price lands, and I put that up. But you can see it finally had a bit of a retracement, and the altcoins had a big rally the last day and a half. And it actually did come down quite substantially, 1.48%, which is a pretty big move to the downside. And you can see Ethereum made that exact move to the upside. See that? Look at that move to the downside. Ethereum to the upside, because that's how it works when Bitcoin dominance, right, is going down. And now we're up here, and the critical question is for Ethereum, as the moving averages have started to trend back to the that's the 2-hour time frame, is do we get back above these moving averages that we're in the thick of right now and get bullish and make a run at this regional high? Get that out of there. Make a run at this regional high up here. Make a run at that regional high of about 28.70 and change, and then come take out this target that we've been watching ever since this phenomenal hold on 1808.69 support right here happened. That this was our upper target, or is this going to be the rejection? This was actually the turnaround, and it's going to slip and come back down here for a major test on a support level to then maybe try to rebound back up to the upside. Right, so it's a critical 48 hours in all of these coins to figure out if this bullish trend is going to skyrocket to the upside, or if these consolidations are going to continue. The XLM is the same thing. You see we have that there from our last video, because we're trying to see if it's going to do exactly what the XRP did, where it actually did come all the way back up, right? And if that was to be the case, we wanted to draw that out there earlier to see if that was going to happen. It hasn't happened, but it could, because the 50-day moving average, just like XRP, is sitting right up there. Initially, we'll look at the XRP when we get into it, but initially rejected it. But this 25 cents, as you do know, is the critical. If it flips this to major resistance, and that's what it's been trying to not have happen for the past 4 to 6 months. You can see that right there, and we went over that extensively. See it all right back there, last 4 to 6 months. If it confirms it as major resistance, it's coming down here very, very quickly, and that's been the forecast ever since this was at about the 63-cent blow off top, just after it, when it was consolidating from 52 back to 58.59. That's where we were thinking it was going, with the chance down at 14 cents, as one track is down there, but another track at the same time diverges to the upside, right? And then two other ones are right into the middle, going along with what we think is actually taking place here, mid-ground consolidation in this bull market. But that's what we're going to watch out for. And as long as you're below that 25 cents in those moving averages, you're bearish. If you get above the 25 cents in those moving averages in the daily time frame, you get short to medium term bullish again. The same thing is what you're trying to hold now with the XRP. You had a ferocious rally to get back above that neckline support, which is bullish. And you're trying to get above the two shorter term moving average to get even more bullish and to confirm the bullishness. And initially you got rejected, to be expected. Now what you're going to watch is, does this trade back down to the 200-day moving average and try to gather steam? And that's what leads it up, something like that. And then we just continue on into this bull market. It confirms the support in a non-flip and another failed attempt to flip that 209 neckline to resistance. And then we're coming back up here to try to make another pump up here to the 255 to 262 major upper resistance? Or is this going to be a classic, just like we had back here a few times? It gets rejected and it just trades down here in the next 24 to 48 hours. That's something that we're going to watch, as if it does trade down. How does it trade down? Does it stay above the neckline support if it comes and touches it? Or does it slip it and start to do something like that? It's going to be very critical over the next 48 hours. And we're going to stay on top of this, especially the altcoins. You can see AMP got back into this support area that we were hoping for, and something that we're also